is my hotel. Super nice place. It really, 3.5 stars. And actually my room is right up there. Pretty much, what is it, 9 floors? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, it's 12 floors. Okay, so I'm on the 9th floor, and there's planes are landing like this because the airport, one of the runways is right there. So now I just want to do a few quick exercises, since again I didn't eat right yesterday. Again, I had 2 ice creams and I had some wine. Too many calories and not enough movement. And then after this I'll tell you, let me just do some super quick exercises, and then I'll tell you about the load I found. So I'm loading tomorrow in Ontario, going to US. So I went to the exhaust shop the other day, asked him to fix this because this was way too close here, and also it was twisted, like the wet flow master was twisted. I think I mentioned this, but I went to a shop and they found that all the pipes were pretty much loose, even though they were properly tightened. But you know, the shop where I did it in Buffalo, after I got this exhaust kit from Flowmaster, the kit came with clamps, and so the guys just used the clamps. They didn't do any welding. And so when I went to OK Tire, and Christian guy here in Cambridge, who I usually go for stuff like this, I wish I had my camera now with me, but the camera is at Sigma Canada. So anyway, I went to see Christian, booked the appointment one day early because of course he's busy, and he found that he could turn the pipes by hand when they were cold. He says you really have to weld this, you know, like at least spot weld it, you know, the connections, because he says you go over a pothole or something, and I hit the snowbank, right? I was backing at the hotel in Burlington and I felt I hit something because I was lazy and I didn't clean up my backup camera. You know, when it's dirty, it's hard to see anything. And so my right tip hit the snowbank, and I see it twisted it a little bit, you know. And this guy says, no wonder, because everything is loose. He says sooner or later you would have this problem. So he says, I really suggest you allow us to do some spot welding. I said, hey, I'm not against welding. I just want everything to be symmetrical, you know, the tips to look the same from the back. So anyway, they fixed that, so now everything is cool. And there was a grounding wire was off, just came undone. Turns out there's a ground wire on the right side exhaust tip for some reason. Man, and I was always chasing these planes, but I would go to a different spot where there's a coffee shop. You can park in the parking lot there. Of course, there's signs everywhere, private property, but you know, I go inside, I buy a cup of coffee or tea. So I'm the customer, so I sit there, sip my coffee, and I took pictures, because in Canada it's allowed, you know. I love planes. My late dad was a pilot, right? And you always chase them, but they've always, depending on the wind, they have multiple runways or landing strips, and depending on the wind they change them. But I see there's a lot of them landing right here, so next time I come here to do some airplane photography, I know where to go. So basically I gotta remember this Crown Plaza is right pretty much in the middle of the landing trajectory of these planes. And here there's still, you see there's another one over there, but here they're still pretty high. I know the place where I went before, you know, they're just landing right over your head. They're so huge. See, like this one has two jet engines, which is beautiful, gorgeous creatures, you know. Man, and actually you would think, but it's not too much noise, you know. In my room, it's just kind of like a background noise, like something you hear from a runway. So the hotel is isolated, but of course it still was kind of a surprise when I first heard this noise, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? Is there like an earthquake or something? I go out the window, see this huge plane going right over the roof. So thank you, Crown Plaza, for an interesting experience. So $22 for parking over here, which I don't remember seeing on Priceline website. This is $66 Canadian, 3.5-star hotel. Yes sir, I'll take it. Then you show up here and they said $22 a day. So it's a good thing I'm staying here only 2 days, but it's Canadian, so 88, which is okay for a very nice hotel inside. But prices are just nuts. I don't think I ever remember paying $18 Canadian for a glass of wine. 18 bucks. And I said, you guys know that a bottle of the same wine is 20 bucks at the liquor store? But it was a good wine, Italian, Valpolicella. I had some salmon with a salad, and everything was going well, except the guy brought me some bread, you know, just from the oven, like some buns, you know, tiny buns. But by the time he comes back with my food, like first he brought me these buns and a glass of wine, and by the time he comes back with the food, the buns are gone. And anyway, so that's why I'm doing exercises today. Too many calories. So anyway, so yeah, my camera is at Sigma, right? And unfortunately I left all my And yeah, I start looking like a monk again, so I was looking in the back hoping my my shaving kit is here, because sometimes I move it to the truck, but it's in my car, so I got it. So because you cannot use this unless there's a shower facility, because if you just, you know, I use it to shave my head, right? Without the shower, all this stuff goes, no matter how well you protect yourself, you know, let's say with a towel or something, there's always hair that goes under your collar in the back. It's so annoying. So I always do this completely naked, and then as soon as I finish, I just run into the shower. So I'm gonna clean myself up today, because yeah, tomorrow I'm loading. So I started looking real serious at the load board. I started Monday, you know, half-heartedly, because I still had some stuff to do, like I was doing my books for February. I only did one trip, so it was easy, right? Only one trip, only one paycheck in February, and then I did all my expenses, filed my sales tax, so I'm gonna get a couple $1,000 back in a couple of weeks from the government. But fuel, man, like even this one trip, right? I still spent over 5,000 Canadian on fuel and DEF in February. Just prices are unbelievable. I keep an eye on, you know, diesel prices. I'm driving around in my car. Last week it was like $1.85 per liter. Now it's $2.02, $2.04, you know. And I filled up this one with 91 premium. I just don't like 89 gas. It's like neither here nor there, you know. 91, where I get it, there's no ethanol. In Canada, if you go to Canadian Tire gas station, 87, 89, they have ethanol. But 91, there's a sticker there that says 0 ethanol. And I just don't want ethanol inside my nice 5.7 Hemi, you know, because it's not good for longevity of the engine. But in the States, unfortunately, it's very hard to find ethanol free gas. But actually, I believe there's a website, something about ethanol, 0 ethanol, something like that, where you can punch in your zip code and it'll tell you if there's any stations around that sell ethanol free gas. It's just, there was even a lawsuit, I remember, of like from boat owners, because they found this when they were buying gas with ethanol, you know, gas for the boats. Or was it diesel? No, gas. But I remember there was something about ethanol not getting along, so to say, with the boats, you know, and people were incurring some damages, so it's not good. But most of the time, of course, you don't have a choice. You come to a pump, like there's no stickers. But I know in Canada, where I fill up here, I know there's no ethanol on 91 gas. And then if you go higher, some places also, if you buy cheap gas, there is ethanol, but expensive, they don't put it in. So anyway, so I started looking at like, check the board Monday, then Tuesday, but then by Wednesday was all done. As I always say, Wednesday is usually the best day to book a load. But recently everything was changing because of the economy. Like, I never was so busy in January. That's why I was able to afford this time off in February, right? And now it's March 10th, and I'm only doing my, well, actually I did a trip, right? I just came from where? From US. Yeah, with that ugly machine. Yeah, with the material handler. So I only did one trip, right? But now I'm gonna do another, which I found yesterday. Basically, people started calling me because, you know, they always see when you look at their loads, right? So on the US load board, they track who's opening the listing, you know, like clicking on it, where, you know, let's say I want to see more details, I click on it. As soon as I click on it, they get a notification who looked at it. And then 5 minutes later, your phone rings. Oh, you looked at my listing. And I hate when they do that. Like, and I'm like, is that a crime? I did not know your listing was illegal. Or is it involving minors or something? Like, what's going on? Are you tracking my server or whatever? Well, you looked at my listing, so I'm guessing you have a truck. Well, did I call you? Like, probably if everything was okay, I would call you, right? And then this broker yesterday, right? I posted a comment in the community section. Unbelievable. Like, she's looking for a B train or flatbed, and the load is 70,000 pounds. I said, how tall it is? She says 13.6. I said, wait, 13.6, and you need a flatbed? Well, my customer says that's how he moved it last time. Okay, I said, well, I only have RGN. And she says, RGN? What is that? And I just didn't want to talk to her. I said, that's it, thank you. Disregard. And I hang up. Because if somebody is asking you what RGN stands for, you know there's zero chance you'll get a load from these people, because or you will get a load, but then when you show up there, turns out you need an extendable step deck with 50 axles or something like that. It means that the person knows nothing about the industry, probably just started or something, right? And then she calls me like 3 or 4 more times. Okay, actually, your trailer might work. And the height actually is 6 feet. So it's 6 feet. I said, how long? What's the length? 28. I said, well, I got 26 in the well. Of course, she has no idea what well means. I said, will this fit in a 26-foot well? She disappears again, goes to ask her boss. But anyway, that was just crazy. I told my my friend, the freight broker from Alberta, I said, they should give you the medal. Like, compared to these other brokers, you're the champion, you know? Like, this guy is always detail-oriented, you know, checking, you know, arrivals, departures, where's your driver, you know, there. And he's doing mostly LTL, so he has to be very detail-oriented, right? Because somebody's booking, you know, shipments, you must make sure that, let's say your load is, I don't know, needs 6 feet by 4, and so if somebody shows up and that load needs 6.5 feet, it's not gonna fit, like, especially if it's a drive and trailer, right? You cannot close doors. So anyway, then there was a load from Quebec to Illinois, but the guy says, we only need your truck. Okay, how does that work? So it turns out there's some kind of big machine on its own trailer. And I said, hey, and I checked Digel, you know, thaw, frost law in Quebec, because it's about to start sometime in March. But thankfully it only starts March 21st. And so I told this guy, I said, you have to get that trailer out before March 21st, or it'll be stuck there till the end of this Digel period. And the guy says, yeah, we know. But then they were still not sure what's going on. I think it wasn't ready yet. So, well, he went away. So now I'm talking to this other guy. And this guy sends me an email. Oh, this guy is from Canadian Load Board. He saw me on the Canadian Load Board. And actually I do get calls, you know, because on this Canadian Load Board, you cannot search for loads unless you post your truck. So basically you do a search, and I was running 3 searches. Like I do a, you know, posting. It says add truck posting. So it's like you're searching, but you're actually adding your truck, so people know you're available, right? And so I did Cambridge to Pittsburgh, PA, Cambridge to Baltimore, Maryland, and Cambridge to Houston, Texas. But then later I decided I didn't want to go that far, so I changed Houston, Texas for Chicago, Illinois, I think. Yeah, so I went Chicago, Pittsburgh, Maryland, Baltimore. And I have that stupid court coming up in April, so I have to be near Baltimore April 1st. And so this guy emails me. He says, I have this ugly, super ugly machine. Guys, you know, I haul unusual loads. This one is gonna be the cream, you know, cream de la crop. I never saw such an ugly, awful machine. But the good news, it has wheels, and it can be driven on, and it's only 50,000 pounds, and it's 8 feet 8 inches wide. Like, what kind of oversize is that? You know, my trailer is 8.6, right? This is 8.8. Like most places, you don't even need any flags, you know, if you're under 10 feet, like many jurisdictions, you don't need flags or you don't need signs. But basically, yeah, so just 50,000 pounds, 8.8 wide, but it's 11.6 tall, which is perfect. So I'm going to be legal height, pretty much legal width, just a bit heavy. And it goes to New York, basically New Jersey, New York, pretty much where I went before, except this one now is coming from Canada, right, which is always good. And the guy, I said, what's your MC number? And he's Canadian, a Canadian broker. And 9 out of 10, they start arguing with you that we don't need an MC number. No, you do, because this shipment goes into US. You don't need an MC broker number if you're doing this inside Canada, because we have this funny rule, right, where inside Canada anybody can be a broker. You don't need any insurance, you don't need any registration. I can, as a carrier, let's say somebody offers me, you know, 10 loads and I can only do one because I only have one truck. I can post that load on the board, but of course I would have to pay the load board, Canadian load board, extra money, because now I'm only, my account is only as a carrier. So, but that's the only thing I need to do. I just need to open a broker account so that I can post loads, right? And so next time, let's say, like I said, somebody offers me loads that I cannot do, I just post them there. And it's totally legal in Canada, but the load cannot cross the international border. If it's Toronto to Alberta, you know, BC to Saskatchewan, I can do that. And so quite often these guys are under the impression that the same applies in the States. And I even found, like I did a screenshot from FMCSA website where there was a question, says, can a carrier act as broker without registration, without broker MC number? And they say, no, that's illegal. You must have a broker MC number. You must have, you know, the insurance, right, and stuff like that. And so I even have that screenshot saved. So whenever I'm talking to these guys from Canada and they start arguing with me that they don't need any registration, I quickly send them an email with that little screenshot, you know. And so I was pretty ready that this guy would say, MC number? What MC number? We're in Canada. But this guy says, no, here's our MC number. We've been in business for 20 years. And so I go to my factoring company website, punch in his MC number to check his credit. And lo and behold, it's all green. Green light, approved for up to 5,000 US. Wow. And this is not the first time, actually, but I only work with brokers that have good credit, you know, unless they want to pay me by wire transfer or COD. But COD, I'm not even touching that one because there's always issues with that one. And so this guy is good, credit is good, the load is not too heavy, and the good news is that I don't even have to pay a wrecker to change anything in my trailer, because I can disconnect my booster by myself. I did it before. I just have to put the big timber under the frame and I play with the air to release the pins, you know, and I can raise the front of the trailer because that affects the rear, right? Basically, you play with the hydraulics and the air until pins are released, and then I just take those pins out because that's a flip axle, right? But in front of the spreader bar, I take the pins out, I disconnect the air lines and the electric lines. Washer fluid low. Okay. We're gonna add it up. So, and that's it. So then I put the timber and I just slowly drive away, and this whole thing just drops on the timber. You know, no damage, nothing, because I make sure that the timber is only like this far away, you know, below the frame of the spreader bar, and it just drops down. So disconnecting, last time I did it took me like 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes. But reconnecting, even with a spotter, even with the excavator or wrecker, man, with the wrecker it takes probably half an hour. With the excavator and the spotter, when I tried to do it myself, the guy had the excavator. Remember, there was a guy, I brought him an excavator and it was parked in my yard. So I asked him to allow me to use the excavator, and he was spotting, but unfortunately he wasn't much help, you know. I said, which way? And he doesn't understand which way it has to go, so I had to jump in and out. So anyway, maybe with somebody who knows these things, like a spotter, and you inside the machine, it'll take maybe an hour. But that time it took me 2 hours. And by the way, somebody keeps posting comments about, Sergey, why don't you buy like a small forklift or excavator? And you guys are clueless, right? What do you think? You go inside the excavator, you hook up that piece, and it's like has magnets or something. You just move it and click, everything clicks into place and pins fall in. That's nuts, right? You need two people. Like I said, you need two people, one in the machine, one on the ground. So what good is it that if I buy a used excavator, first of all, now I have to pay another $100, $150 for parking. Like my bill is already like $350 Canadian a month over there, where I'm parked in. So, and then one guy says, why don't you buy one of those cranes, you know, that with wheels that can move, like a big bar? Yeah, what is it, like $100,000 to save a few $100? Anyways, again, one of those cases where people leave comments without thinking. You know, they're probably there on a 10th bottle of beer. Buy an excavator. The other guy says, you need some power tools. No, I don't. I can do my job without excavators. But anyway, so I started calling around just in case I need to change something on the trailer, and I started looking for another wrecker company, because the one I used before, they started charging me 2 hours minimum, and the rate increased from 200 to 250 an hour. So now it's minimum 500 Canadian, which of course is not real dollars, but it still hurts. $500, so that's like what, 350 US. And so I started looking around, found a company, and they say, yeah, we charge $250 an hour. I said, what's the minimum? And she says, an hour. I said, bingo. So I said, if I just need you for 1 hour, and I explained to her and they call them rotators, because, you know, a wrecker can be anything. A wrecker can be a small tow truck, but when you say rotator, they know what it is. A rotator, even though rotator means that the boom can go sideways, which I don't always need, but I said I just need a, what do you call, light crane service. And she says, oh, a rotator. Okay, well, you call it a rotator, that's fine, but at least she knows what I'm talking about. She's not like that freight broker who wanted to load a 13.6 to load on a B train. And so we start talking. She says, yeah, 1 hour minimum, but they're in Kitchener. Kitchener is the next town over. I'm in Cambridge. So I said, if it's 1 hour, you charge me $250 plus tax, right? And she says, plus travel time. I'm like, wait, what? Travel time? Where you want to do this? I said, I'm in Cambridge. And she says, okay, Kitchener, Cambridge, usually it's half an hour, so we charge 30 minutes this way, 30 minutes back, so 1 hour. So so even though they don't have a minimum, but now, you know, they drive half an hour, they the guy works for 1 hour, then you have to pay him to drive back 1 hour. So the same BS, same $500. So actually the previous company is better because they're right there in Cambridge, and so they don't charge me for travel. The guy just shows up, he starts the clock, and so I get 2 hours for $500, right? So with these guys, I get 1 hour of work for $500. Just crazy. And it's funny again, one more thing I wanted to say is that when you talk to these contractors, right, you know, plumbers, wrecker operators, it rarely occurs to you to argue about the rate. Like the guy tells me $250 an hour, and I know it sounds, to me it sounds high, but did I say anything? No, it didn't even occur to me because the guy knows his price. He said, yeah, $250 an hour. Like they're very positive, right? But when it's a trucker like me, a trucker talking to the broker, oh, why is it so high? Oh, we never pay, you know, $10,000 in line haul. No, we don't do that. They always argue. You know, brokers always argue. There's never, and there is a reason, because, you know, there's big companies, right? They can do it for cheaper because, you know, for less money, because they have a bunch of other trucks and they have all kinds of equipment, right? Whereas for me, my trailer is heavy, and so I choose to do, you know, 1-2 loads a month, but that pay good money. And this way, by the way, it helps my truck's resale value, right? Because now prices are crazy. I pretty much can turn around now. If I decide to semi-retire, I can sell my truck for the same money it cost me back in November 2018, right, when we did the ordering, right? And then it took like 3 months, and then the truck arrived last week of February 2019. And I remember right about this time, now it's March 10th, right? But I think it was the first week of March. It was my first maiden voyage with the truck. Back then I had a 55-ton Fontaine. So they always argue. They always argue, but like I said, for me, I like big deals, you know, like a one load, I don't know, 10 grand, 20 grand, you know, something like that. And you do a couple of those, it's easy bookkeeping, right? You don't do 20 loads for $1,000, you know. 2-3 loads a month, that's all I need. I know my expenses, so I keep it simple. This time, you know, I was very thankful for the opportunity to take this 2 weeks off in February, because I was so busy in January, right? I really was tired in January. So anyway, so what we're doing now is, so the restaurant, the food is okay, so wine and liquor is BS, too expensive. So I'm thinking, yeah, I'm not getting any wine over here, but I want to find Starbucks, and this is airport area. Like, it's hard to find. I want to find like a standalone building, you know, where you can actually sit inside, because quite a few places I was checking Google Maps, it says, yeah, Starbucks, and then you click on the street view picture and it says Metro grocery store. So it's just inside the store. They don't even have any chairs, you know. Hold on, let me go. Can you see this sign over here? Low washer fluid. How do you like the sound? soon it'll be time to clean my my air intake. But you know, I only have 3,900 kilometers. 3932, 3,900. So yeah, unfortunately I would show you some driving, but I left all my you know, head mounts in the truck. So I just need to get this, my room key, because there's a barrier there, and you have to use this in order to get out and get back in. Anyway, so time to get to Starbucks, and then I'm gonna create this video, and then since now I know dimensions of this machine I'm picking up tomorrow, I can order permits, because the guy sent me a picture. I know the weight approximately. And so yeah, tomorrow I told them that, you know, I booked a hotel till Friday. If I leave, I'm gonna lose my money because it's not refundable. And so I told them I'm gonna load Friday afternoon, like around lunchtime. And so the plan is I'm gonna leave tomorrow probably like 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, so I'm in my yard at sunrise. Don't want to work in the dark. And then I'm gonna drop that booster with the entire spreader bar, and my neck is folded, right? So I just need I need to move the kingpin, because now I'm at the shortest, like what is it, 82 inches kingpin. That's way too short. So it's okay when you drive empty, but loaded I'll have to drop the trailer, take out the pin, and just move it to the next hole, which is 101 inch, and that should be enough. And I have to decide, do I want to run with lift axle down or lift axle up? Because without that, with 3 axles, I know for a fact my truck and trailer weigh 57,000 pounds. So 57, the machine is 50, 107. So if you get 20 per axle, even 6 axles, it's already 120, right? So I think I can do it without the lift axle. But this thing has such a weird shape. It has a very long engine compartment, which stretches forward like, I don't know, 10 feet, you know, over like the front axle. A very big overhang in the front, which can affect the weights. So I haven't decided yet. So I'll have to think, once I get to Starbucks, I'll have to think about that, try to figure out the weights. But it would be cool if I don't need the lift axle, you know. It's better, but with more axles it's good, you know. It's still 50,000 pounds. More axles means more brakes, because my lift axle has, of course, extra brakes, you know. If you're going through some, you know, hills, you cannot have too many brakes.